Have you ever cared so much for others that you forgot to care for yourself? Have you ever stood beside everyone in their hard moments, but when you needed a single hand on your shoulder, no one appeared? This is the story of a gentle man who gave kindness freely to the world, but forgot that he too needed kindness. Only when his spirit shattered did he discover the most powerful truth of his life. Long ago, in a quiet village surrounded by golden wheat fields and tall whispering trees, lived a man named Faris. Faris was not wealthy. He had no grand house, no fancy clothes, and no special titles behind his name. Yet there was something in him that made everyone adore him. His heart was larger than his life. If someone's goat wandered off into the woods, Faris was the first to search. If a family's roof began to leak in the rain, he climbed up and repaired it. If a traveler arrived hungry, he shared the little food he had. The villagers often said, "Faris is the soul of this place," but no one ever saw the exhaustion hidden behind his warm smile. No one realized that while Faris healed everyone else's problems, his own life was quietly breaking. Each morning, even before he fed himself, Faris carried water to old Rahila, a widow who could barely walk. Then he went to help his neighbor mend a broken fence. After making sure everyone else was settled, he worked long hours in the fields until the sun turned red and dipped behind the hills. But when he returned home, reality greeted him harshly. His small house stood tired and neglected, its roof sagging, the door barely hanging on its hinges, the floor covered with dust. Faris would look at it with a slow sigh and whisper, "I'll fix it tomorrow." But tomorrow never came. One evening, a young girl named Mira rushed to him, breathless. "Uncle Faris, please come. My mother's donkey has fallen into a ditch. She can't pull it out alone." Without a second thought, Faris ran with her. He pushed, pulled, and struggled until the frightened animal was finally rescued. Everyone clapped and thanked him, but Faris simply smiled, wiped the sweat from his brow, and walked home quietly. The night was calm, but something inside him wasn't. As he walked, his vision blurred. His legs trembled. His heartbeat felt too heavy for his chest. He reached his doorstep, leaned against the wall, and collapsed. For 2 long days, Faris lay weak and feverish inside his house. He waited, listening for footsteps, hoping someone might check on him. Maybe Rahila would knock. Maybe the neighbors would notice the silence. Maybe anyone would remember the man who remembered everyone. But no one came. Everyone assumed that Faris must be out helping someone else, just like always. No one imagined that he needed help this time. Staring at the broken ceiling above him, he whispered through trembling lips, "I gave everything. But when I needed the smallest thing, I received nothing." Tears slipped from the corners of his eyes. On the 3rd morning, a wandering sage named Sohail arrived in the village. As he walked past Faris's home, he saw the weak man lying near the door. The sage immediately knelt beside him, gave him water, and rested his hand gently on Faris's shoulder. "My son," he asked softly, "why are you lying here alone?" Faris forced a tired smile. "Because I spent my life caring for everyone else, and forgot to care for myself." The sage's eyes softened with understanding. "Listen to me," he said. "You cannot light another person's lantern if your own flame is burned out. You cannot fill anyone's cup if your own is empty. Love is a blessing, but it must begin with you." Those words struck Faris like warm sunlight breaking through clouds. They reached the deepest part of him. The next morning, weak but determined, Faris rose to his feet. For the first time in many years, he chose himself. Slowly, he cleaned his hut. He repaired the roof that had been neglected for too long. He swept the dusty floors, fixed his door, and planted bright marigold flowers outside. Every evening, he walked to the riverbank and sat watching the sun melt into the horizon. He allowed the silence to heal him. He allowed peace to enter him. He allowed himself to matter. Soon, people began to whisper, "Faris is changed. He doesn't rush to help like before." But Faris simply smiled and replied, "I am helping, but I'm starting with myself." Days turned into weeks, and the change in Faris became visible. His face glowed with calm. His steps were lighter. His heart was stronger. When someone asked for help, he no longer said yes instantly. Sometimes he replied, "Let me finish caring for my own duties first. Then I'll come." At first, people did not understand, but slowly they saw the truth. Faris's kindness had become even purer, even stronger, now that it came from a full heart instead of an empty one. One evening, the old widow Rahila visited him with a warm smile. "You've taught us something precious, Faris. We always believed kindness meant giving everything away. But now we know that kindness also means caring for your own soul." Faris smiled gently. When you love yourself, your love for others becomes deeper and more real. The entire village gradually changed. People still helped each other, but they also started tending to their own homes, their own hearts, their own peace. The village grew more balanced, more understanding, more united than ever before. One golden evening, as Faris sat by the river, the water glowing orange with the sunset, he whispered softly, "Now I know. Loving yourself is not selfish. It is the beginning of all true love. Remember this. You cannot lift others if you are broken. You cannot give love if your heart is empty. Take time to rest. Take time to heal. Take time to love you, because the world needs your light, not your exhaustion." If this story touched your heart, subscribe to English Dailies Hub, where stories help you grow your English and your soul.